Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today is tutorial number the next one, because I didn't look at the numbers before I started. Anyways, today we're going to be building what's behind me, the doors and the lights. We're also going to be doing the jump scare, because I feel like it. Also, by the time you're watching this video, the trailer for my Five Nights at Freddy's movie map, my Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, will be out, so I suggest you go give that a watch. Hi, it's a present day me. This video was recorded like a long time ago, so my map is actually already out. You can actually download it now on Planet Minecraft, but yeah, a lot of the stuff I say in this video is really old because I recorded it a long time ago and I've just been too lazy to get off my butt and edit it, but I edited it, it's here now, but you should totally go download the map. I'll put a link in the description. Anyways, back to the video. Link in the description, but let's get on with the tutorial because I have been busy, so we gotta get going before I get busy again. Okay, so the first thing we're actually gonna start on here is the light, and I can remove these white concrete blocks. We're gonna start on the light system, which is just this little setup here. You're gonna need a repeating command block, a comparator coming out of that, and a repeater going into this tower of command blocks with 1 impulse and 2 chain on top. This is all we're gonna need for the light system. So you're just gonna set this up. Got a little outline here. You don't need to do that. You just need to set up these two little things, and then you're gonna want to come over to your button. I'm using an oak button, but you can use whatever button you'd like. And you want to grab the coordinates of your button. So I'm going to grab the coordinates of my button real quick, so I know where it is. Because you always want to know where your buttons are. Now that I've grabbed the coordinates of my button, we need to know what direction it's facing, but I'll get to that later because I can never figure out how to do that. Well, I'll figure that out eventually. So now we're going to want to make the light turn on. Well, if I want it to turn on, I should actually probably do this. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this to prove that this will work. So I'm just going to fill this in with black concrete real quick so that way you can't see out into the hallway. You don't have to do that yet. If you want to, you can. I'm doing that right now, just because why not? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come into the repeating command block, open up the command thingy, and I'm going to type in test for block. Oh crap, I actually forget the command. Hold up. You're going to want to type test for block. Then you're going to want to type the coordinates of your button, which these are mine. Then you're going to type what your button is. Mine is a oak button, which I actually don't know if you type oak button or wooden button. Alright, so if you're using the oak button, you actually want to type wooden button. Only if you're using oak though. Everything else should be fine, but for some reason oak is completely messed up. But wooden button, bracket, this thingy, quotations, facing, direction, equal sign, and now we're going to find out what direction it's facing. So what I do is I just put a random number between 1 and 4, and then I set the, get the keyboard off my screen, and then I set it to always active, and it'll tell me previous output as well, and the block at so-and-so did not match the state. So now I keep doing this until I figure out what direction it's facing, because I still don't know how these values work. I just know, successfully found the block, and you see it activated. So now what we want to do is we actually want to delete this bracket, put a comma, and put more of these thingies, quotations, button, underscore, pressed, underscore, bit, those things equals true. So now it'll only power when it equals true. So you see it'll turn off, and it'll tell me did not match the expected state, which that's good. We want the power when it's true. So now that we have that set up, it's testing for the wooden button. Here's where the fun begins. We have to go grab some coordinates. these two corners to be exact. Yeah, these two corners to be exact. So first I'm gonna grab the top corner here, and then I'm gonna grab the bottom coordinate right here and write that down. And now that I have both coordinates, we're going to go in here, and because this is going to turn the light on, we're going to type fill, and we're going to put our two corners, or the two coordinates that we put for the door. Type in these coordinates just like I'm doing. Not my exact coordinates. I should have stated that at the beginning. My coordinates are different than your coordinates. You don't want to copy it. But now we do that, we're going to type air. Air. That should be correct. And now is where the magic happens. If I did everything correctly, I should be able to place these black concretes here. And you can see the black concrete's gone. It removed the signs from the side of the door, but that's not going to matter. You're never going to see the side of the door if you're always in the office. So now, we can turn on the light. Now what we want to do, this part is completely optional. But, if you want to, in these two chain command blocks, this one can set the button to a brighter colored button, like it's lighter, which is what I'm actually going to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set block. I need the coordinates again. Alright, set block. The coordinates of your button. Then at the time of the button, I'm changing it to Burke's button. And then you want to do the facing direction. Facing direction. And the same direction that the button before is facing, which was 3. And you also want this to be on conditional. This third one though is completely okay. So if you're doing this the way I did it, it's not optional to change the button. Well, it is. You just have to use a different system. But for the system that we're using, you want to change the button. And this third command block is completely optional. It's just to play a sound. I am not going to go over sound effects though. I will make a separate video on that. But now if I've done everything correctly, which I have not. Oh, that thing didn't work. That's why. So now if I've done everything correctly, it's now a Burke's button, signifying that the light is on. And now the other thing we have to do is work on turning the light back off. So what we are going to do is we're going to take all of these command blocks here, and we're pretty much just copying and pasting it over here, except instead of testing for a wooden button, we're testing for birch, and instead of filling it with air, we're filling it with black concrete, and then we're sending the button back to wooden. So if you understand that, then you're basically just doing the same thing but with different blocks. But I am going to go over this again anyways, just in case. So we're going to want to set block. No, not set block. Test for block. 45, negative 59, 136. Test for block. And it's going to be a Burke's button. Facing the direction of 3, whatever direction that is. Well, again, your direction is going to be different. And then the button pressed bit equals true. Close bracket. And now that I think I've kind of like shown you this. Now that you got that, and now that I think you understand what we're doing here, instead of filling air, this one's going to be black concrete, and instead of setting to a Burke's button, you're going to set an oak button. So I think you understand it. I'm just going to finish it up and show you when I'm done. Alright, now I've finished typing all these command blocks. Let me show you. This one is the same as the other one, but now it's black concrete. And this one, just now with a wooden button instead. And then this one just for the Burke's button. So now when we come over here, we press the oak button, it turns on and the button lights up. We press it again, it turns off, and the button goes back to being the normal wooden button. That is all you need for the light. I'm not even kidding. It's that simple. Just a button, it turns on, button, turns off. Now that we have like done this little light thing here, it's time for the, I'd say, a more complicated bit. Not that complicated, but just the little more complicated bit of getting the door to open and shut. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do to make the door is we're actually going to want to get our frames for the door, which I've already added over here. What I've done is I put barriers in all the air blocks so that when the door opens you won't be able to walk out of the office. What I've done here is I've set up all the frames I need for the door with my structure blocks. Last time when we had to do something, we cloned it with a structure block for this design for the animatronic. We're going to be doing that same thing with the structure load command. And what's happening here is, what's going to happen is when give me a sec. When the button is pressed, this system over here, you don't need to worry about these two command blocks yet, we'll get to that later. This system here is going to power and clone the frames down. So it's going to, like, so what it's going to do is it's going to clone the frames out. It's going to clone this one, then this one, and that one. And when it's put together, it's going to look like the door is smoothly closing down in a nice animation. The first thing we're actually going to want to do is we're going to want to go get the coordinates of our crimson button. So I'm just going to break this button quick and place a block here. So that way I'm also going to break this iron bar that's in my way. Just so I can get the coordinate of my button here. There you go, I got the coordinates of my button. I'm also just going to point out right now that it's facing the same direction as the other button, so you don't have to worry about finding the direction again, just reuse it. Okay, we got the coordinates for our crimson button. We're going to go in here, and we're going to type the following command. Test for block, then the coordinates of our button, which follows as so. Well, my button at least. Your coordinates are different. And then I'm using a crimson button. Remember, you can use any button you want. I'm just using crimson because it's kind of red and it looks like the door is open. So crimson button. Then we got the whole facing direction and all that stuff again. So facing direction. Then again it equals 3. And then we got the button pressed bit equals true. Now that we have that, we're going to switch this to always active. Okay, it did not match the state because it's always active, but we didn't push the button. But when I come over here and push the button, you see it's on, and then it goes off. Next, we're going to want to find out where our structure block is. Okay, it's in the bottom left corner, so which means we're going to want that block right there where the salt is, and that's in the frame. So we're going to want this corner, okay, sorry, I got to break these barriers. We're going to want this corner right here, these coordinates, which I'm just going to quickly copy those. Okay, those coordinates are copied. I'm just going to place that back up. And then I shall show you how I named my things here. I just named like D1, that stuff. So when you see me typing structural D1, D2, D3, just know I'm doing the frames. You can name them whatever you want. But just in case you want to name what I did, I just did D, then a number of whatever the frame is. First, though, because we're closing it, we don't need to put the open one again because it's already open. So we're going to want to start with D3, then go D2, and D1, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And the command for that is as follows. Structure load, then I want D3, and then I want the coordinates that I got for where my door is going to load in. And now to make sure that works, I'm going to go push my button over here and make sure I didn't blow something up. Okay, you can see the 2 blocks of my first frame loaded in easy peasy, just like that. So now we know it's going to work. And basically what I just did for that first frame, you're going to want to do for these other 2 frames. Don't worry about the chain command block, I'll get to that next. But what I did for this one, just repeat it for the last 2 frames, and then I'll get back to you after I finish that. Alright, so I finished with these other 2 command blocks here. You can see I literally typed the same thing, just changed the name of the frame. And when I come over here and push the button, you'll see the door closes in a nice smooth animation, just like that. Next, what we're going to do, it's button time. Basically, this is going to be the same thing we did with the light, where we changed the button so that the button changes color. So basically, I'm typing in the same command I did over there. It's alright if you forgot it, because I'm typing it again right here, as you can see. And I'm changing it to a warp button so that the button turns green after the door closes. I think that's how you spell warped. If not, it'll tell me that it is wrong. It'll give me a syntax error and I'll be able to change it. But warped button. And then we want all the facing direction stuff again. I think you got the gist of it down. We're just kind of repeating all the commands that we typed in before. Nothing really new here. Set it to conditional. And I spelled warped wrong. Okay, now that I've typed that in that command, the set block to the warp button, we can come over here, break this, just so we can see that nice animation again. And when it closes, the button turns green just like that. And now, guess what time it is? It's time to repeat that over here, but the opposite. So here, the first frame was D3. Over here, the first frame is actually going to be D2, which is this middle frame here of it opening up. Then the next frame is going to be D3, and then D4, which is it all open. So basically, we're going to do the same thing over there, but opposite. So that opens up, and it's going to test for the warped. This is going to replace it back to crimson. So I will show you all that once it's done. So, because I think you understand. It's just the same thing, but opposite and flipped around. So I'll show you that when it's done, just in case you don't understand. Okay, so I've now gone over here, and I've basically done the same thing I did here, but now when I open this one, you can see the command is exactly the same, but now it's testing for the warped button. Here, the frame is different. It's loading in the frames backwards, so it opens up. And then here it's in the block back to a crimson button. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. When I press the warped button here, it's going to open up. And when I press the crimson button, it's going to close. And then again, we can see that with the light as well. The light has no effect on the door, and the door has no effect on the light. It all works the same. Not the same, but none of it conflicts with each other. But now that we have completed the doors and the lights, I think it's time to work on a simple little jump scare to kind of conclude the video. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to these two command blocks, and what they're basically going to swap this redstone dust around between the two areas here. So I'm going to grab the coordinates for both of these right now before I forget them. And so I don't have to do it later. Because if I just do it now and write it down, we don't have to go back and forth like we normally would. Got those coordinates. Now we have those two coordinates for those two blocks. I can come over here, and this one is testing for crimson buttons. This one's closing it. So what we're going to want to do is the first coordinates for this one here, we're going to want to set this to a redstone dust. So, my brain farted. We're going to want to set this to redstone dust when the door closes, because this is what's going to reset Freddy, and change this to when the doors open. So I actually need to write a little something down here, just so I don't get confused from now on. There we go. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to come over here, and first I'm going to type set block, the coordinates of the reset. So that leads in the command block that will reset Freddy, and we're going to want to set that to a redstone wire when the door closes. So if I could type an in and not a space, I would love that. Set that to redstone wire, and then this one on top of here is going to set the other one that will power the jump scare to air. That way the jump scare doesn't power when the door is closed, and instead Freddy gets reset. Now that I have that, I'm going to come over here and basically swap it around, and that comparator remove, we're going to want that back right there. So basically I just swapped it around, so the jump scare would power right now, but when I close this, we can see that it did not work. I'm stupid. I forgot to type the word air in here. So let me try that again. Let me open the door back up and try that again. Okay, it's open. I set these so that the jump scare will power because the door is open. And if I close it, you'll see that the jump scare will not power now, and instead it will reset. Now we're just going to take that and reverse it over here. So it's going to be the opposite. So instead of this being redstone wire, it's going to set that block to air. So I'm just going to type that in real quick. So now that I've done that, you can see now in this one it's going to do air, and this one's going to do also air. No, redstone wire, thank you. So you can see this one does a redstone wire now, and this one does air. So now the door's closed, so it's going to power the reset. But now the door's open, and it's going to power the jump scare, which is actually what we're going to work on now. And the simple thing we're going to want to do, we're just going to do a quick jump scare that is just going to teleport the armor stand basically in front of the player. So what it's going to do is it's going to teleport us to in the office facing the door. It's going to teleport us, we'll say about here, facing the door, so that way it's like we get turned towards the door and he's going to jump at us. So that's what this command block's going to do. We're going to get face towards the door, and then, okay, hold on, actually, repeater, command block, repeater, command block. This is going to face towards the door, and it's going to teleport the armor stand in front of us. And then we can expand on this later with teleporting us away back to the menu, which we don't have a menu right now, but when we get a menu I will add that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some simple repeaters here, and I'm going to add this command block that'll teleport us, that'll basically teleport the armor stand away and teleport us back to normal, pretty much, just back to the office. So the first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to want to get the coordinates of where we want to stand during the jump scare, where we want the player to stand during the jump scare. Am I even recording? I don't know anymore. Yes, I am. So where I'm standing is right here, where I want to stand during the jump scare. I'm going to grab those coordinates, and then where I'm going to be facing towards this block. So I'm going to grab those coordinates, and I'm going to go put those into our first command block. So it's basically going to be TP at P, and then I'm going to type in the coordinates that I picked out for where I want to stand. You can do anywhere, it doesn't really matter. And then we're going to type facing, and then the coordinates that I picked out where the player is going to be facing, which is like that. So now, if I just quickly throw that out of there and grab a redstone block and power this, you can see it teleports me here facing them, which is absolutely perfect. I'm going to put some delay on that, because now we're going to teleport the armor stand. So Freddy's basically going to teleport in front of us. So I'm going to grab the coordinates that I grabbed earlier, and then these coordinates over here. Yep. And now I'm just going to basically replace at P with at E for the armor stand. So TP at E name equals, I don't remember if I dyed it or not. I think I just did it like that. I can look at the name tag later. And now basically I'm going to flip-flop it. So where I was facing is where Freddy's going to stand, and where Freddy's facing is where I was standing. Something simple like that. If I click this, yeah, Freddy's now teleported there, but we don't want Freddy there. We want him to go back. So I'm just going to reset it and hope he doesn't jump scare me while I'm doing this. Now I'm just going to teleport the player just back to normal. So I'm going to grab these coordinates here. I feel like these coordinates are pretty normal. Freddy's doing Freddy things, so we might get to see the jump scare work before it's even done, which would actually be kind of interesting. Unless I close the door, which actually I'm going to close the door because I don't want the jump scare playing out before it's done. Yeah. Now he's going to reset. Where is he? He's dead. Okay. Anyway, I got the coordinates of where I want to be teleported, and now I just want to grab the other coordinates. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do when what's it called? I'm speaking chip. I'm flabbergasted. Flabber. I'm stupid. Anyways, Now we're just going to teleport the player back to normal with the coordinates I picked out. We will be changing this later. So don't worry if you want a menu and you don't want to be stuck in the office forever. We won't. We will come back and change this later once we make more tutorials on how to do that stuff. And then this command block, I'm basically just going to have it activate this over here by adding this command block here. And what I'm basically going to do, I'm just going to have it reset the animatronic right now. Which it won't do that when we're done. Actually, so I just won't do that. It's just going to teleport Freddy back to his first position, which is these coordinates. So I'm just going to take these coordinates. I'm just going to teleport Freddy back to his first position instead of making him reset, because that wouldn't... We'd be stuck here forever. And we're going to change a lot of this anyway. So don't worry if a lot of this seemed a little weird to be doing. A lot of this is going to be changed with future videos. And you can make this as advanced as you want. So let's say you don't like my simple jump scare right now. Well, you can add animation to it if you want, if you know how to do that. Will I make a tutorial video on that? Probably eventually. But right now, no. We gotta finish the basics first. But as you can see, I'm typing my command here to where I want teleporting Freddy back to normal. Alright, we got a command to teleport Freddy back to normal. And now... Oh, that's such a shit. We were about to test the jump scare, actually. So Freddy has now gone back here because the door was closed. So we are gonna wait for Freddy. Oh, he's zooming. Hopefully he hurries up. I'm gonna turn on the light, open the door, and we're gonna wait for Freddy to show up. Actually, I'm gonna keep the door closed just because I want to show off the closed door. But where is Freddy? Freddy, you better hurry up. Freddy, hurry up, Freddy. Hurry up. Freddy, come to the door. Okay, so Freddy's at the door. I definitely didn't make him that, but if I keep it open, and we get that little animation jump scare. I was staring right at it, so you didn't really see it that well. But we get that little jump scare, and Freddy has gone back here, but the system did not reset because technically we are dead. So that's pretty much it for right now. That's pretty much it. That is the light, door, and jump scare. Simple. They're simple, by the way. We can improve these with sound effects and all that in later videos. I'll make separate videos on that. But anyways, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, turn on notifications. The next part will release sometime in the future. I have no idea when, because I'm going to be busy for the next week. And this was the only, like, 2-3 hours that I had available within a week. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed. And now you know how to make a door light and simple jump scare in Minecraft. So, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. And check out the trailer for my 5 Nights at Freddy's movie now. Alright, goodbye.